right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so let us start here. So I'm hoping that you all can see my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Anyone? Yes. All right, so let us continue this in the interest of time. So I'm Mr. Edwards here. Yeah, I've been teaching on this platform since COVID. And, you know, COVID is a tech time going away from us. So, you know, the one-on-one services try to keep you up to date in terms of marathons. I don't know how many of you have been to other marathons. Any of you on this platform? All right, so, okay, so here we have number one. Remember, there are four questions in this exam. And the duration of this exam is 2 hours. So on Tuesday, you'll be sitting two papers, paper 2 and paper 1 in the afternoon. So paper 2 will be in the morning and it's for 2 hours. And paper 1 will be in the afternoon. We have 60 multiple choice questions to do. Now with paper 2, there are 4 questions. Question 1 and question 2, there are 20 marks each. And question 3 and question 4, there are 25 marks each. So the total here will give you 90 marks. So paper 2 were 90 marks. Now, each question on this paper can have a question that deals with productivity tool. What I mean productivity tools, there are tools such as a spreadsheet, database, word processing, or even web page design. Or web page design. Web page design, all right? All right, so it means therefore each other question can have something of that nature, either a spreadsheet or a database or a word processing document that you have to deal with. Now, let us start with number 1 question here. So question number 1 states that the Caribbean Development Bank plans to find a project to establish a meteorological station in a Caribbean island to forecast and monitor weather conditions in the region. The type of computer system suitable for this project is called a supercomputer. Right? And everybody know what a supercomputer is. You might have heard what they say about it, but probably only see pictures of one supercomputer. But there are many in the world, well, not many in terms of a desktop computer, but there are a number of supercomputers that we use in the world. So the question goes on to state that the 2 reasons why a supercomputer is suitable for this project. Please note that it says for forecast and monitor weather conditions in the region. So what would be a reason or 2 reasons why a supercomputer is suitable here? Can anybody tell me?
Because do calculation.
Because, sorry, go again.
Because it's easy to do calculation.
Because it's easy to do calculations?
Yes.
What do you mean by easy here?
Sir, because it did the calculations quickly.
Because, right, so that's what I was looking for. It's basically the speed at which it does its calculation, right? I think about the weather condition in our Caribbean. Now we are in the season of hurricane. I know the hurricane season is from now until about this November 30, right? I don't know if, for example, last year, I don't know how many of you watch your weather channels during or local weather channel during the hurricane season. Any of you? Or when I say that they're going to have some form of hurricane or a development of hurricane in our Caribbean, how many of you get a chance to even look on to see what is happening? None? All right, so because a supercomputer basically performs complex calculation and the speed at which it's able to do so, it is able to basically predict the weather patterns. So if you think about the trajectory where it developed a pathway, so when it developed from Africa leading up to this side of the world, it can show you the pathway in which they believe or predict the hurricane will go through. Have you ever noticed that on TV?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so one of the main reasons here, we know that a supercomputer can basically perform complex calculation. So it basically performs complex calculations, which basically are then used to predict weather patterns. So that's one reason. Any other reason to think of here?
Because it's the fastest of its type.
It is fastest of its type. Yes.
A large capacity.
Yeah, so when you compare with other types of computer system, we know that these are some of the advantage here, right? You know that it allows for a simulation to take place as well. You're aware of that? All of that is due to its complexity. It also due to the speed at which it's able to process a large volume of data, right? So it has the ability to process large volume of data. Volume of, any other you can think of, even though we have two and the question asks for two?
It has a large memory, sir.
That's a large memory. Memory in terms of the, well, you're not dealing with storage here. I'm always talking about, there's a difference between memory and storage, right? As we know it. You're aware of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, well, definitely. If it have a very powerful processing speed, so more likely there is that need for more memory use here. That's good. Yeah. So we can say also, I think I did not put this one, it can provide simulations of the weather based on data collected. So this is a factor. So part two and there. So any questions? Okay. So we're moving on. All right, so here we are to number two. It says here that the local area network of stakeholders throughout the Caribbean region are to be connected to the supercomputer to form a wide area network using telecommunication lines. So this question is coming from section 2 of your syllabus that deals with computer network. And here they're asking you to identify the most important hardware device that is necessary for this connection. Now, based on the question given, the question says something here with respect to wide area network. Okay? And if you think about it, if we are to connect networks in a wide area, you have to think about the hardware device that allows you to do so easily. And you recall what are the different hardware devices that we use in computer network?
Sir, router.
Let's say a router, or again, are there any other for computer
Switch.
network? Switch. So you have a router, you have a switch. Do you know of anything else?
Bridge, hub.
Bridge,
Good
hub,
afternoon. You have
Yeah.
sensor as well?
sensor
Repeater.
Yes.
as a network, hardware network device. Sensor, how does that work? I never think of that. All right, so here they are saying the hardware that is most important. And in order for you to get this question correct, you definitely need to know the function of the different hardware devices. All right? So what will your answer be here? Of all the things that you have listed just now, you list router, you list switch, you use hub, you have hub, switch, what again? Firewall, you mentioned all of those. So annotation, some people writing on my screen now. Yeah, so what your answer will be? Anyone?
A router, sir.
You say
Satellite.
router?
Something
Why?
regarding satellite for the worldwide.
For the worldwide. So, all right. So the person that mentioned router, who was it? Who mentioned router? Was that Brandon?
I mentioned it as well.
Can you tell me what is the function of a router?
Sir, it's usually to connect two different networks.
They are used to, right. So the fact that we have networks set up in different countries in the Caribbean, right? Now for us to route whatever packets that is intended for a particular network, a router would have been the best hardware device to use here. So even if you have a satellite here, it means therefore the signal have to be captured by one of those networks, and it require some form of way of directing or direct the traffic to its destination. And a router is an example of such device that is needed for that. So the second part of this question asks me to state the role of the hardware device identify here. So what we can simply say here that a router is definitely, so we have router here for our answer, O-T-E-R. And then we say that a router is used to connect a LAN to a WAN. So bear in mind that each country have their local area network. Jamaica have their local area network, Guyana, Trinidad, Barbados, Antigua, you name it. They all have their local network, right? But they need to be connected together. So because they are so far apart, it definitely requires some form of a router that will basically allow them to ensure data packets reach the correct destination. Oh, what's this? Right? So we can basically use it. You know that a router ensure that packets reach the correct destination. Because if there are a packet that will come to Jamaica, it's not destined for Jamaica, it will not come on our network. It will pass to other network to see if those are the intended destination for the packet that being sent. So you have to be mindful of that. So another thing that you could also think of is that it is used to, yeah, go ahead. Someone saying something? It is used to receive and send data on a computer network. All right. Next question. Says here, state 2 examples of industries other than forecasting in which supercomputers are still being used. Can I get some answers for this?
Aerospace.
Space, explore, what you saying? Space exploration.
Scientific research.
Hear that.
So
What did you
virtual reality.
Like I'm not even hearing clearly what it's all about with my mic thing. Could you go again? I'm sorry about that.
Sir, military reconnaissance.
Okay, yeah.
Sir, would it be used in military headquarters?
Yes. Yes. Military quarters for use of.
So
money.
what about
Go ahead.
a scientist lab?
A scientist lab? Yeah, because I believe that they're able to develop the COVID vaccine with the use of a supercomputer. The pace at which you're able to get this done, I do believe that the supercomputer was heavily used in this regard. All right. So what about entertainment, the entertainment industry? How you use this in entertainment industry? Anybody? Entertainment. Oh, yeah. How it is being used in the entertainment industry? I'm just trying to go by industry here. You all, I would assume that you watch movies from time to time, right? I don't know if some of you ever watch King Kong or Godzilla or something like that. Any of you?
Oh, Animatrix and something, sir.
Animation, very good. So they use in entertainment for animation. So, all right, what about the car industry?
Well, I use if you did up certain, like, type of car them where I make like the Tesla them.
So,
yeah,
I used to do what? Some virtual tests, not true?
Yes, sir. Like
Yes, sir.
energy saving, battery saving car them and something.
Yeah. So you can for battery, can be for safety as well. right? Because that is on top of the
Like, sir,
agenda
like-
as well.
Like
Sir, artificial intelligence.
Yeah. So there's a myriad of things. So you at times will have to state it in such a way that when the reader read it, there is no doubt in their mind that you are on point, right? So even though you think of all the industries here, give the reason why it is used, right? So just like you mentioned, for safety testing purposes, that's what they can use it for in the industry. With entertainment, it can use for animation. The manner in which you see this Godzilla, King Kong move and they look real, all of that is because of animation. So you find out that if you ever examine how they make some of these movies, then you realize what I'm making reference to here. So the pace at which they are able to move the arm and foot and they are able to run and so on, the supercomputer allow them to do something of that nature. Right? So supercomputer are basically a powerful tool here. So they use supercomputer in many industries here. How about, can it be used for pilot training?
Yes, sir.
All right. So in aviation, you know, pilot training, they can do simulation here. All right. So there are many things that we can think of. You know, it's just that you'd have to, you know, it might take some more reading into be able to come up with examples, but you see these things on a regular basis. So I don't
Sir?
think you should have, yes, go ahead. Can I help you?
What about molecular modeling?
Oh, I'm not that science person, you know, so you could explain that to me. So, you know, modular modeling, I guess the fact that you mentioned modeling, then I would accept that because it might take a lot in terms of where things are being processed, all right? Anything else? It can be used for research, not true, medical research. We mentioned that already. Let me put it right here. All right, so these are just a few examples with respective industry that we can look at. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned scientific research, very good. All right. All right, so we'd like to continue from here. All right, next question now. So the next question speaks to characteristics. State two characteristics of desktop or personal computers that make them popular among computer users. Nice question, right? So this is a question, you've been using desktop and personal computers in your life. And you just now have to find what are some of the important things that you basically use one of these, whether it be a desktop or a personal computer. So when you think about, if it's a personal computer, desktop, it's synonymous, yes? So what are some of the computer, how you use this computer, by the way?
So they're used for single operations.
For single operations?
So then,
So they can basically be used for anything that you don't need a very high complexity for. You can use it for gaming, for instance, if you want to specialize to that. You can also use it for animation, art. You can also use it for word processing. Those are the few functions you can use them for that don't need you to go super far into the cost to get a better computer for it.
Okay. So, okay. Are you able to connect to the network easy with a desktop or a personal computer?
Yeah, you can connect good on a personal computer.
Yes. So we know definitely that there's an ease for connectivity with a personal computer, right? So that's one characteristic of a personal computer. I understand what you say here, and I take your point. All right. What about the storage? For a desktop computer, can you increase the size of your hard drive or your memory on a,
Device.
pardon me?
We use the desktop for storage device.
For storage device, yes. I mean, all computers make use of storage. But what I'm getting at here, it allows the flexibility here in terms of being able to insert larger amount of primary storage or secondary storage.
So, sir, you could also, sir, could you also say customization, right? It has a good customization for the personal computer.
Yes, right. You can customize it to your suit, hence why we are able to increase your storage, right? All right, so all right, so let me write a few things here. So we can say it allows for increased productivity. Yes, as we say, you can use it to play a game. You can use it to write a letter, right? You can use it to just about any little thing that you have done on a day-to-day basis, right? So basically, it allows increased productivity in relation to doing the task manually, right? So that's one point. Good. It also allows for easy connectivity to a network. Anything else that we can say here? Oh, I mentioned that it allows, if somebody mentioned about customize, it allows for a large amount of primary and secondary storage. Do you need technical training to use a desktop computer?
Not really.
Not
sir.
really.
They do not require technical training, really.
Sir, what about processing efficiency?
Processing efficiency?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would have look on item 1 where we say it allows for increased productivity in relation to do the manual tasks. All right, so I think that will cover what you are just saying. All right, so we are more than 2 right here. We can also desktop computer not that portable though, so I wouldn't want to use the term portable. So, you could say that they are, they are more cost efficient. Will I use that term? IENT. So basically, what I'm saying here when we say they are more cost efficient, what I'm looking at in terms that easier to purchase, yes, as you can also look at, or you can be able to upgrade it. I think somebody speak to that. And also you can maintain it over time, right? So we're looking at that as well. So these are some characteristics that I think a desktop or a personal computer have. All right, so here we go. Next question. It says, state 2 areas where desktop or personal computers are widely used. Everybody must know this answer. What's the first thing come to your mind?
Home.
Home.
Office.
Library.
Good. I mean, nobody not supposed to get this wrong. Home, school, office, or what we refer to as business. Yeah, because you can have that as well. And we have what? And most of you like to be entertained. No. in entertainment. Good. So you can find many examples here. They're widely used, yes? All right. So now we are on spreadsheet here. Good. So it's important. I mean, I sent you the document. I don't know how many of you have access to it right now. All right, the information in worksheet 1 below shows that shows the total sales for each of the months, January, February, and March, for 5 salesperson in their particular district. So we have a number of salesperson. There are about 5 of them right here, and they're all coming from a particular school, district, with their sales and the months as well. So for example, Kathleen Albert, a salesperson from Port of Spain district, has sales of 1,925, 1,500, 1,350 for the months of January, February, and March, respectively. The data in the range A1 to E, or E, am I seeing E here? Oh, you want to E, it will be worksheet, or let me just get this clear. In worksheet 2, yeah. So the data in worksheet 2 was summarized and organized from worksheet 1, the original worksheet, to allow for easy reading. So that part is what they refer to. So this is a sheet for, this is worksheet 2 that have the summary for each salesperson. Okay? All right, now, so I'm going to go back and forth so that you can see exactly what the question is asking of you. So this part states that you are to identify the feature, function of the spreadsheet which was used to produce the summarized data in worksheet 2. So what will that be?
Sir, I think that's a pivot table.
You say it's a pivot table. Okay, you have to tell me why you say that is a pivot table.
So because a pivot table is used to summarize the sheet, sir.
Right. So, okay, so the next question I'm going to ask, why it could not be like an advanced filter?
Advanced filters are basically information that is filtered but is represented in the same sheet, not a separate sheet.
Okay, but it can, right? Oh, if you look on how you are able to view the data, right? I don't know if you recognize that. Note how the data is being presented in worksheet 2. Oftentimes students have a mix it up with advanced filter and pivot. If you notice that if you have an advanced filter where you have salesperson, district, sales, and month, and you put a query on this and select it, the data, the records will be shown exactly as it's shown here. So if you extract, if you are able to extract for example, all those sales that are greater than, let's say $1,500, right? It means therefore, when it extracts this data, you're still going to see the salesperson, the district, the sales, and the month being generated for you. But when you look below here in worksheet 2, there is no way you're going to see the record organized like how I was telling you about. Everybody clear on that? So definitely that advanced filter could not be the answer. So whosoever did have that in mind, definitely could not be that. Yes, I take the point that pivot table are mostly used, or you summarize the information here, right? But it's able to look in various, it's able to present the data in different ways for you, and hence why we will consider this document or worksheet 2 will be pivot table. So a pivot table was used here. All right. All right, now here we go. It goes on to say, state the information that is provided when a value in the grand total row of worksheet 1 is double-clicked. Anyone?
See the sheet again, worksheet again, sir.
Pardon me? All right. Here we say that
Sir.
it's, yeah, I'm sorry.
You'd actually see the filtered information.
It's a filter information, yeah. But it's state that the information that is provided when a value in the grand total row of worksheet is double click. So yeah, yes, right. But in remember, when you ever use Google Sheets?
Yes, sir.
So in this case, what will happen here? If you are using Google Sheets instead of Microsoft Excel, and you are to click on the grand total here, what do you think will happen? Have you ever used this? Have you used anything we have to do with filter in Google Sheets?
I think when I click on the filter, I think it's supposed to take it to another sheet or something like that. I don't quite remember, but I did it once.
Yes, for in Microsoft Excel, when you do that, it takes it to another sheet basically. And it shows the filter data that produce that total, right? But for those persons that make use of Google Sheets, nothing will happen because in Google Sheets, filter is a function in Google Sheets. I just want to point that out. But I know some people do not have Microsoft Excel and they use Google Sheets. So based on the exam question given here, you will have to state the application that you are using. So don't feel left out if you make use of Google Sheets, right? I just want you to be aware of that. If you're a person that heavily use Google Sheets, right? You could state on the exam paper said, nothing will happen, yeah? PH. Nothing, because guess what? You see the software that you are using. So any software other than Microsoft Excel, right? Nothing will happen. So an example of this will be Google Sheets. Yeah. Right? But as somebody rightly stated that it shows in Excel, in Microsoft Excel, basically, it shows the filter data that produce the result. Or produce the total, I should say. All right. All right. All right, next question. Say if the values in worksheet 1 are updated, the values in worksheet 2 are not automatically updated. Say the two steps required in the correct order to manually update the values in worksheet 2. Anyone? So once again, if you recall, worksheet 2 and worksheet 1. So if there's a change in worksheet number 1, right? Does it automatically update worksheet number 2? Right?
So you'd have to refresh it manually.
You would have to refresh it manually. So what steps you will have to take to do this? Because that is what they're asking you here. And they want, it says state the 2 steps required in the correct order to manually update the values in worksheet 2. I think I heard somebody say that they did it once. Do you remember the steps?
So I think it's kind of difficult to explain it in 2 steps, but in the ribbon, you'd see analyze. If Microsoft Excel, you'd see analyze, and directly after that below, you'd see refresh. You'd click on refresh all.
Yeah, so what you need to do is to, when you select the analyze ribbon and then select refresh all, obviously those are 2 clicks, right? That will give you the answer. Is that clear? You can make a cell in the pivot table active. So just click on one of the cells in the pivot table active, and then you can do a right click on the mouse and then select the option refresh, right? So you can do it in those 2 steps. So you can say make a cell in the pivot table active. By doing that, you just click on a cell so it becomes active. The next step here is you can do right click and right click on the mouse. And then you can now select the option that says refresh. Good. That's 2 marks. And that will generate the result. So that they're asking you for. So this is what you can do in Excel, right? So as a person, right? Oops, sorry. So the alternative to that, basically, you can select the analyze. Analyze ribbon, and then select refresh all. Good. So note also that whether it be Excel, word processing, or database, I noticed a trend that they keep asking the steps involved in doing something. And you have to be mindful of that as well when you're going through this, because you can easily lose the marks if you do not know the steps involved in doing some of these tasks. So that is something that you have to prepare yourself for. I don't know much preparation I've done where this is concerned, but that is the whole idea as a trend that I'm seeing with CXC now. All right, so the next part of the question here states that complete the missing parameters in the VLOOKUP formula for cell B10 of worksheet 2. Cell B10 cell B10 right here. So I don't know if I can highlight. All right, but anyway, B10 is right here. Good. So they want to know the formula that you're going to put there is asking you to find the parameters that you need to put here for this particular function here. They're asking you to find the amount of sales made during the month of March by the sales person in cell A10. So anybody remember what the first argument of a VLOOKUP should be?
The lookup value.
The lookup value. Where do you, let me scroll up here now. Where do you find the lookup value?
A10. Clement
A10.
Davis.
So A10, we name Clement Davis. Clement Davis is the record that you want. So you will place A10 right here in the where the lookup value is. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters that you need to put in, right? So once again, for those of you having issue with this, lookup value suggests that I am looking up a value, which is Clement Davis, and where should I look up this value? So the second argument is dealing, oh, go ahead. Where?
The range of cells in workbook 2.
Right, so the range of cells. So the range of cells that we want to look up will be, this would be the range of cells that we want to look up, all right? So the range of cells that we want to look up is from A3 to where? To E7,
7.
agree? But clear on that? So that is where we want, so that is a range of, that's the table that we want. No, this is very important. Whatever value or whatever you are looking up, right? So for example, Clement Davis here. You see this table here? It means therefore that Clement Davis must be in the first column, in this column of your range. If it is not there, or there's somewhere else in another column, this will not work. All your lookup values start from the first column of your table range. I want you to remember that all the time. And you can try to see if it works with you, but I do know that every lookup value that you are looking for in our table must be in the first column. Are clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, your range of cells will be A3 to E7. Good. The third argument is suggesting what?
Column index.
The column index. Now, what is it that they're asking you for here? They want to find out the amount of sales made during the month of what? March. Let me put my pen. During the month of March. Good. Where do we find March? So I'm going to check to see from my table here. Where do we find March? We find March here. I like pen. We find March there. Good. So we know that Clement is right here. So which part Clement, the record Clement meets March, we're looking for that figure there. So basically indicating the record from the column that we want, right? It basically wants to return the data from the column that we want. But clear that? So the column is counted as the first column, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is the fourth column information we want with respect to Clement Davis. So we definitely will have to put the index number, which in this case will be fourth column number 4. Then the last argument now will say what?
False. In this
False.
case, false.
Why you say in this case?
Because you want a certain, like, want a specific output. So therefore we'd use false. If you wanted some other output, we'd use true.
Right, so, okay. So with false, it is suggesting that you need the exact match. The exact match here. So what we are looking up for here is what? We are looking up for Clement David. So we want to find that exact match. Good. What if it was a number you were using, or the number, let's say you're looking for different numbers, grades, or you have a range of numbers. For example, if you're looking at a grade scheme where you know that A are scores from 8% to 100, B are, let's say, from 65 to 79. So you know you have a wider range of values there, but they are not what? They're not specific. Good? So you will use true in that case when they are not specific, when you just want an approximate match. I want you to bear that in mind. True suggests exact match. And is that true? Now follow me now. Listen. True is for approximate. Make a mistake. Right, I got none of you follow me. Say, sir, that not sound right. True is for approximate match, and false is for exact match. Everybody clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, once again, false is for exact match. And true is for approximate match. All right. All right, so the next part of the question, which is a 1-mark question, it says here that state the range that should be made in parameter 3. Parameter 3, which is this parameter where you have the 4, right? In order to obtain the grand total for the salesperson in cell A1. A10, sorry, my bad. So what do you think your answer will be in this case?
Change the column index to
You're going to change the column index to the 5th column. Very good. So you could write the statement out like this for your answer. You could write it by indicating this. I have A7, A3 to E7. Then here you have instead of the 4th column, you put the 5th column here, right? And then you will put false here, right? So this is one response to getting the 1 mark, or you could simply say parameter 3 change from 4 to 5.
Parameter 3.
Parameter 3. Oh, yes, parameter 3. Thank you very much, sir. That's correct. So correct. Okay, so that will complete question. Which question have we done so far? 1 question? Any questions? All right. Yes, there are no more. Yeah? No. Okay, now, so look at question 2 now. J is in the information communication technology, which is the ICT, right? That's what ICT stands for, information and communication technology. He's a manager at Empress Power, a renewable energy company. The proprietor As announced, the company will be expanding with new branches opening in the neighboring city. Well, okay, yeah. So Jay has outlined to the proprietor that in order to facilitate the expansion, multiple computer system would be needed. And it's now asking you to list the 4 basic components that each computer system should have. What are the 4 basic components of a computer system?
Monitor.
Monitor.
CPU, sir.
CPU.
Keyboard.
What is the difference between a system unit and a CPU?
So the CPU is the central processing unit.
All right.
The system
if
unit.
someone point this out to you. Remember, you have a
System
system
unit is
unit.
basically the whole
The
computer.
CPU is a part of the central process. No, the CPU is a part of it.
Oh, go ahead, Smith. Where are you? Smith, you were saying something? Oh, I lose connection. So we know that the CPU, the central processing unit, is nothing but a chip, right? And it is housed in the system unit. So you know the system unit is that rectangle thing that you have there, which have many components in it. If you happen to open one of them, you will see a motherboard, you will see a power supply, or in a laptop, you will see a battery, right? You will see hard drive, you will see a memory card. Yeah, other little circuitry you will see there, right? So I want people to make sure that they do not mix up some of the things in here, all right? So no monitor, yeah?
So you could say input out, like input output storage.
I'm about to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, true.
So I'm about to say that. So you need some form of output device, right?
Yes, sir.
So I put monitor here. So it's like I was waiting on the other responses to see how many of them going to give me another output device. You understand me? So you might give me all output devices here, and you said, because it said 4 basic components, you know, so the 4 basic components have to deal with input device, output device, some processing device, and what again? And the best thing is storage. Right.
Memory.
Yeah. Storage, in the sense, we could be both memory as well as backup storage or immediate access memory. So those are some of the things that you have to consider. But when we use a term, and we have to be careful how we use a term with the storage and memory, right? When they use the word memory, most in the field of computing, they are mostly speaking to your primary storage when we talk about memory, which is your random access memory. Is that clear? And when you talk about storage, they are mostly speaking to your storage, such as like your hard drive or your solid state drive. Right?
Secondary storage.
Which is referred to as secondary storage. So we have input devices. And you can, if you want to put in bracket as an example, you can mention what? Keyboard.
The keyboard.
And the mouse.
And a mouse, for example, yes. So I would expect you, when you're writing it, you put in keyboard, mouse, monitor. So if you use keyboard and mouse, they are the same category, right? So you have to be careful with that, right? So you have to look on processing devices. So in this case, we are refer to it as a CPU. Obviously, you must have a CPU.
Sir, the ALU.
Pardon me?
ALU.
The ALU is a part
That's
of
phone,
the
it's a
CPU.
CPU.
It's a component. So there are about 4 components make up the central processing unit. One of them is the arithmetic and logic unit. The other is a control unit. And well, those are the 2 things that they mentioned in the syllabus, but there are more, such as registers and cache. So I don't think this syllabus speaks to those 2 that I just mentioned, right? So they mainly focus on the arithmetic and logic unit, which are referred to as the ALU, and the control unit as the CU. Always write out the word. Our students have a tendency to mix up what the acronym stands for. For example, they have CU to mean the central unit. It is not that. It is the control unit. The control unit behaves like a cop. It directs how things flow throughout the CPU, right? So you have to bear that in mind. And of course, storage here. An example of that could be your solid state drive, or in this case, storage, or your random access memory. I think it mostly speaking to secondary storage though. Under processing system, deal with that. All right, good. Next question. Jay has listed a number of specialized peripheral devices that will be required. Complete the table below to indicate the category of each device. Answer for this one. Everybody must know this.
Input device.
Input device. Yeah? What's the next one?
Input as well.
Output.
Input.
No, a scanner.
Output.
No, scanner.
Input.
You have a scanner document yet?
Processor.
Processor. Is that a scanner? How does a scanner work? And you have a scanner on your phone?
Yes, sir.
It's used to capture data. Remember, that's not an output device. The purpose of a scanner is to read. For example, if you're scanning a document, it's just going to scan the characters on the document and store it on the computer for you. So that is data. That is how you capture the data. You have to think about the purpose of the device. It is not an output device. Everybody clear on that? So how would you, what type of device would have been a touch screen? You make use of phone all the while.
Sir,
Input.
A touch, me say no. Touch. Screen.
Input and output.
Why you get output? The touch.
Sir, input device, sir.
It's an input device because it's an
Reason being is because a touchpad is used to insert data into the computer.
Right. Thank you. All right. Next question is dealing with wire network. Jay will need to set up a wired network to facilitate communication between the computer systems. Question here states that you are to list 3 types of transmission media. 3 types of transmission media. That could
Sir,
be
optical
Fiber optic.
and fiber optic.
So they are looking at wired transmission, right? The fact is, the question, very good.
We could use coaxial cable.
Coaxial and fiber optic.
Yeah, but the fact is, it's only 3 of them. You know of any more? It's a wire network, not wireless. Wire network. You have to look in the question. For those of you who have an issue with this, always look on the question. It's a wire network. So and it asks you for 3 of them. So 3 of them here will be a twisted pair, right? And you all mentioned that. Next one is a coaxial cable. And you have fiber. Right, so those are the 3 wired network cables. So all of them is what we make use. What are the different wireless?
Microwave.
And media.
Satellite.
Satellite. Infrared.
Radio waves, sir.
Microwave, sir.
Microwaves. All right, good. Very good. Next part of the question states that we are to identify the transmission media in B, Roman numeral 1, which would be most appropriate for use in the scenario described. So you have to bear in mind the scenario described, right? So the scenario is up here. So always, when they ask the questions of this, the way, notice how they set the question here. They give you a scenario here, and based on the scenario, you have to answer your questions them accordingly. So you have to check to see now what is it that they are speaking to in the question here. So you know that Empress Power, yeah, Jay is a manager at this company, and they speak to what we refer to as renewable energy. Right? Renewable energy. So this is a big thing in the question here. So basically, the company will expand to new branches opening in a neighboring city. Right? So it's not that close and it's not too far. So those are 2 important characteristics of the network that you need to look at. In this case here, if you select any of the three transmission media for wire, you definitely have to justify why you select it, right? So if you can't justify why you select it, then for some of it, you might have a problem, right? So which wire media you think would be the most appropriate here? Or a loose connection here?
Fiber optic, sir.
Fiber optic. Why would you say fiber optic?
Fiber optic is usually used for long distance connections, sir.
Yeah.
So say you needed to connect a town and a neighboring town, instead of using something like a twisted pair or coaxial, you'd use fiber optic because the information travels fast on fiber optic.
Yeah.
And it's typically easier to install underground than the other.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fast because it uses light.
It uses the speed at which it's able to transmit, yes? And it says renewable. Right. So you mentioned something about distance, right? So with a fiber optic, I think it loses, what would I say now? The signal strength becomes weak after about 500 meters. And that is why you have to use what is called, you use something that will allow you to repeat the signal. Signal, right? So with a twisted pair now, a twisted pair loses the strength as signal when it reaches 100 meters and beyond. So if you compare, so one of the things that you need to look at where this question is concerned, look about the characteristics of or the advantage of each of the cable, right? So in terms of distance, we know that the fiber optic can use up to 500 meters without losing the signal strength, without the signal strength being weakened, right? With a twisted pair, it goes up to 100 meters. And with the coaxial cable, I think it goes up to about 300 meters, right? So you're looking at distance because it says a neighboring city, you know. So in other words, what is telling you that it's not that close, it's not that far. So you have to bear that in mind, all right? Another thing that we could look at, if we were supposed to select twisted pair, would we have selected twisted pair? Anything to look at? So what about some places when I have fiber? You think they can still have connectivity?
Why wouldn't you use the coaxial then?
You can use a coaxial, but I'm giving a reason why I'm using it. Suppose, you know, suppose where I live in a country where I live, the fiber optic is not available for me. I have to resort to other means.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because based on the scenario being presented here, I do understand that fiber optic would have been the leading part of the able to identify. But suppose you are living in a country where fiber optic not reach there yet. So the question I say, where you going to write on the exam paper? You have to justify why. Because if it's not available in my country, I use it for this reason, for the cost and the accessibility. Suppose fiber optic is not accessible. You have to use something else.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, I think I would choose the coaxial cable because it's less and it's here.
Did I use a coaxial cable?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, because, well, it transmits over like 80 times more data as the twisted pair would.
Okay. Well, as it relates to cost and availability, that's good.
Coaxial more expensive than twisted pair.
Yeah, that's another thing again. All right. So it depends on how you will look at it. All right. So it is cost and more accessible. I know twisted pair is more, it's not that costly, right? But I know definitely that is more accessible. But if you notice nowadays in Jamaica, you're not seeing much coaxial cable anymore. You notice that? And then you also here use coaxial cable? I think they're becoming extinct here. So what we're saying here, in essence, you'll have to justify why you select one of these cables. Don't just tell me, because some people might say coaxial, justify why you select it. All right? All right, so here we have C. In presenting his proposal for expansion to the proprietary, Jay prepares the following spreadsheet, which outlines the cost of material for one of the new branches, Rockside Startup. Here you have your spreadsheet. Now it's now asking you to write the formula which is required to calculate the total cost in each of the following cells. And you're looking on cell what? D4. So this is the cell that you are to look at. D4. Good?
That's
It's asking you to find what? Calculate the total cost So notice here that it is items times number. So this more likely number here could mean quantity, yes? In other words, the number of table would have been 12. And what's the cost for one table will be $5,000. So therefore, you will, let's scroll up a little bit more here. Right. So for that, they ask you for a formula. When I be a formula or function, always put the equal sign. All right?
Question, sir.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between a function and a formula?
All right. So a formula, all right, the main difference here is that a function is predefined. It's a predefined formula being used in our spreadsheet. What I mean by predefined? In other words, it's built into the system. So it has a function name. If you notice when you put in a formula, you don't really have no name, function name where you call. I don't know if I'll be able to answer your question clearly.
Yes, sir, thanks.
Right, just know that the function is a predefined formula that they use for calculation. Right, they both do calculation, you know, both of them are formula, you know, note that. But one is predefined, the function is predefined. So in this case, like how because in the syllabus, you know, they want you to make the distinction between a function and a formula. And the fact that they ask you for a formula, more likely you will not use a function unless you use a mixture of function and formula. But at the end of the day, whichever way you take it, it is a formula. All right? In this case, what are the cells involved here? So it is B4 times C4. So B4, and the operator for multiplication will be asterisk, yes, and then C4. You have some people, if they put a bracket around it, no problem. If you leave it like that, no problem. All right? Now, the next part of the question asks you to do what? Write the formula which is required to calculate the total cost in each of the following. Right? So D4. So it says what? Here. You have to put. So is it D14? Hope I get that right.
B4 to B2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me go. D4. Okay. So this is where they're talking about. Right? So obviously they're asking us, to say, right, the formula cells here. So it means therefore you will have to know, write a formula which this with this range of cells here to find the total. So now, what is it that they're looking for here? Oops.
Sum.
They're looking for sum. So that's one possible answer, right? I'm going to write two answers, so you're going to get. So even if you write equal sum, it will be accepted. And you say what? D4 and the range, because the range of cell, and D12. That will give you your answer. All right?
Sorry, sum will be accepted even though it says formula.
Yeah, but I'm showing you, yeah. But the formula is very right. Look how long this will be now.
Long, good.
So, oh, you're going to add up all of them otherwise. You're going to have equal, right? And you're going to say what? D4.
D4 plus.
Plus, oh boy, for what? No, for 2 marks? Someone's up there for, right?
So
D5. Eh?
Sir,
All right, I don't get the understanding though.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me just write it because I think this is being recorded. All right. Oh, 9 to 12. Okay. And well, in an exam, they might give me a whole power by to type up. It's not true. Right? To me, you write both of them, formula them at the same time, you know. But you see, if them ask if you have function, and think about it now. If they ask if you have function, you better write a function. Everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Because a function is actually a formula, but it is predefined. You get what I say? So if you write a function as a formula, it's still a formula. Just wanted to know that, depending on what they ask you. Okay, so now, do you know, to improve the presentation of the document, J formatted cell A1 across all columns as shown in the spreadsheet. Everybody must get this right. Can I get this right?
Merge and center.
Do not say merge alone. Okay?
Merge and center, sir.
Merge and center. Very good. Why? Notice the document. Notice what it says here. It says if it doesn't say merge alone, it means that the rock side start up with a be over to your left. All right? So you have to bear that in mind. It goes on to say list the steps taken by J in the correct order. Notice again, they're asking you for the steps. So you must have done some practice before, because you have to bear that in mind, right? I don't know if your teacher has drilled this in you. So please write down the steps as to how you do things. Otherwise, you're going to need it in the future. I don't know if you have heard that before, but this is how the exam, this is how they are setting the exam these days. So you have to bear that in mind. Good. So list the step taken by J in the correct order to apply the formatting feature identify in what? In D, Roman numeral 1.
So you'd activate the cells.
So you'd first thing you do is select the first cell in the row, and then you would click and drag. Yeah, highlight this the cells in the row that he wants to be
Highlight the range
merged and
of,
centered.
highlight the cell range, right? I think that's the
Yes,
first
sir.
thing you need. Good. What next?
And then he'd travel to the ribbon and
The ribbon.
identify the merge and center option.
Which part of the ribbon? The home.
Home, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Then?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you could just like select the home tab.
Mm-hmm. And then what? That would have been the correct order. You select the home tab, and then what?
You'd have to activate the cells first.
Right. So remember the question saying in the correct order. So you have to bear that in mind, right? So if you even go home cell, right? You definitely have to highlight the range of cell first before you can click on merge and center.
Sure.
Good. So if you think you can experiment, you can do the experiment yourself, you know. So if you think about it, but if you go to home, right, first, as the first option, you must highlight the range of cells next. So at the end of the day, highlighting the range of cell definitely either have to be either first or second. that clear?
Yes, sir.
So that order, possible. What about persons using Google Sheets? How will this work? Anybody here do the Google Sheets? All right, since somebody not use Google Sheets here, it make no sense going over.
Sure, you have to highlight the image, click
yeah.
across and select merge and center.
For Google Sheets?
For Google Sheets.
So you don't select a format on the menu bar for Google Sheets.
You can do a right click or you just go ahead and use up by the it doesn't have a full taskbar like this that is showing on the screen.
Microsoft, right?
So,
okay.
Right.
Right. So if you notice the trend, as I mentioned, so if you are a person that did not have Microsoft Excel, you still can answer the question, right? So you'd have to bear in mind the steps it will take you when you are using Google Sheets, right? Now don't be deterred by the fact that, oh, I don't know anything about Excel, and it seems as if they're asking you questions on that. But you can still do the same feature here in Google Sheets. So you must know the steps that are involved in that process. All right, so moving on. So here now, what's the section? It says here, which question is now? It says state the steps in the correct order required to create a formula to find the average of a range of numbers in a spreadsheet.
Type the equal sign and type the word average. The range, well, the brackets and range.
Sorry. All right, your first step will be? What was that?
The equal sign.
Natasha, your first step, sorry, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear your first step.
Sarah was saying the equal sign and then the word
The equal sign was the first thing you will do? That will be the first thing I will do though. I will basically select the required cell, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the equal sign.
Ah, good, very good. And then the next thing is to enter the equal sign. Always remember that. You notice the step. It's a little bit detailed, not true? So select you can select the FX function, not true? Icon.
True.
From the toolbar. So here, flexible, yeah? Or you can type in what are you going to type in here now? What's the next? It says find it says required to create a formula to find the average of a range of numbers, you know? So what are you going to do here? Sorry,
Outline the ranges.
You're going to do, what you're going to do here? What are you going to type here?
Sorry, I wouldn't use the function, I'd use the formula.
Okay, all right. So let me put optional right here for the time being. Yeah. Anything else? When you enter the equal sign, then what would you do here?
Average or
Equal
type in
AVG.
Instead of equal, note it is not AVG, it is the word average. Note this, everyone. There is no function in Excel named AVG. I see students write it all the time. So it would have been what? What would you type? You will type the word average after the equal sign, yes?
Yes, sir.
There, once again, let me emphasize this. There is no AVG function in Excel. So you're going to type the word average, and I'm putting it in bold. And what are you going to do next?
Open bracket.
Put the range in bracket.
All right, so yeah, you're gonna put the range in bracket. Yeah, cool. That's it. Voila. Done. And press enter.
You need to show them like an example or not necessarily.
That's very good.
Yeah.
You know, remember you have people marking, you know. And so once you can give an example, they quickly just mark your paper and move on. You understand? That is very good. Because when I'm looking at it, it shows that you fully understand what you are saying. So you type,
like for this, sorry, sir. So for like this question now, for example, instead of write out the full steps, you can just give the example.
you have to write the steps, man, and then give the example. So in a case like this, I could have said example here. I would have said equal, and then I write the word average, right? And I will do something like that. I will look back on the cell references up there, and what I don't remember what the cell references are. So let's say we want to find average of something. Let's say I want to find the average cost right here. How would I use B4 to B12 as an example? Or I could use it for D if I want to, right? So it's a matter of a choice. I more like use the D, like find out the average total cost. So that'll be average here, would that be in D what, D4? Was it D4? I remember, D4 to D12. Let me double check. See if
Yes.
it's 4? Yeah, right. So I will put this as my example. The reason why I'm saying that is when somebody go put in the word, they might say average, and you put an example and you put AVG. That shows say there's a disconnect right there when the person is reading it. So it wants me ever put this right there and can explain what this is, full marks. All right? That's cool.
2 marks, yes.
Yeah, man. 2 marks question, simply. Yeah, but they might ask you the steps. So, you know, some people can do this another way, not true. You could have put the range of cells. What could you do here? What's the alternative example could I use, right? Find the range. Well, I don't want to get into that because we know
You could actually select the cells of the select the function.
Yeah. I could have add up all of the numbers them and divided by the two, you know. All right. Yeah, that's too long. Nah, bother that. All right. So you know that what you could have even do. All right, let's think about it. Make this bigger. What you could consider here, you know. Where am I? You know, you could have do something like this. All right, you just say, all right. You could have said, make this cell to all the formula active, yeah? Okay. Active. So once you have an active cell, right? You can type, you can say type equal, not true? Oh, what may I put plus? Type equal. And you could use the word you could use the word average right here and put it in a general way. Like you could say starting cell address, right? And I put the colon, and I could have said closing cell address. And close it off right there, so. See that? And then you just give them an example. So let's give them an example. So it's an equal average, and I say D4 colon D12. Boom, done. 2 marks that. I have the D4 that being the starting cell address. and D12 would have be the closing cell address. So right there and then, all of this right here, that indicate to you, say, yeah, this person know what they're saying. Good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're moving on to question 3. All right now, so this person was nominated to serve as a team lead for a plan. Huh? Rodney, saying something? All right, so for planning an ICT symposium hosted by the Empress Power, list 3 groups of ICT related personnel that he will need to invite to the symposium.
Give yourself when I say professional.
So, why is so? Name some profession as it relates to ICT.
Database administrator.
Any definitely
Network engineer, sir.
technician first. You need a network administrator, definitely.
Sir, system analyst.
You don't need no programmer.
Software engineer could, well, it could also work.
Yeah, okay. You don't need nobody that deal with we manage database. Aye. You definitely need somebody right there. So
System administrator too.
You need somebody to analyze the system, not true.
What about the data librarian?
Data librarian, we use them still. Well, for example, we put up files for us and retrieve files when we backing up data.
Secretary that.
Yeah. You know, you have some people who do that though, like companies, when they back up them data, these librarians ensure that it is stored properly and they are able to access the information when they are being called upon. Right, but you know, it get extinct away still. Now those are a few, yeah? And a 3 marks a master. And notice they say list. And the fact that them say list, all right, not no more than just name them. Right? So those are the things that you have to consider in an exam. Because guess what? 2 hours before question, you know. You can't write, you just get to the point, yes? All right, now it says state 2 ways in which the extensive use of ICT has positively impacted the field of business.
Sir, e-commerce, online shopping.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, allows for easier storage of files.
It allows for easy storage of files.
Sir.
Ease of communication, sir.
All right, let me read the question again. It says here, state 2 ways in which the extensive use of ICT has positively impacted the field of business. And you were saying again?
Sir, e-commerce improvement.
E-commerce improvement.
Online businesses.
For online shopping. So basically improve the way in which business operates. Because
yes, sir.
If you think about it, you know, right now as we speak, you have some store lock. So suppose you want to buy something now, you can't go to the store because it's physically closed. But due to the fact that we make extensive use of ICT now, we can actually go on Amazon right now and purchase something. Okay, that? So it basically, one of the ways that we think ICT definitely impact that it has improved the way businesses operate. So in the past, yeah, some store lock up, gone, you want something to buy, You can't get to buy it because I'm locked. So, I may say inline, online, sorry. Online shopping, that's one. Next.
It has made it easier for businesses to analyze the data about what their customers like and the statistics about them.
Yes, very good point. All right. So go again, let me try capture here and place it here. It what?
It made it easier for businesses to analyze customer data about what they like and their interest in certain sectors.
It make it easy for customer data to analyze. And what?
And for businesses to be selectively targeting them.
And for businesses. And for businesses to select, sorry, I lose my thought right there.
Selectively market to them.
Very good point. Right, cool. Nice point. All right, so it basically, you have some company, like they may not have the expertise, right? So you know what they could do with that? They could look, you have some companies that don't have the expertise of what they do. They normally outsource, not true? Outsourcing. Yeah. They normally outsourcing, not true, but due to ICT now, there might be no use for that purpose, right? Certain activities, some companies are outsourced and say, well, I'm going to have the expertise, I'm going to have a platform for work, so guess what? Another company do it on my behalf, right? So if you notice nowadays, although you have some companies still outsource things though, but it's being minimized right now. All right, okay, so those are a few. There are others, by the way, so. Okay, so here we have a Word document. Let's see, what is this saying? So here they are asked to prepare a memorandum to the director, generally outline the plans for the symposium. The following is an extract from the memorandum prepared using Word format. So here's a document using Word format, right? So notice the old design of this document. So there usually they ask questions from this. So it says, state one reason for using bullets and numbering in a Word document.
For organization and presentation.
Organization. I think I like this. It says that it draws attention to important point, whether it be ordered or unordered, yeah?
Can you send the link for this paper in the chat when you're finished, please?
Huh?
Can you send
this and the answers I have here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I can do that with the hope that I don't get shut out. Order. Right, so I say here that it draws attention to important points ordered, important points being ordered, right? So if you think about it, when you read a document and you see some things here in bulletin, what you think, what first thing comes to your mind? It makes the document more presentable. Some people might say that. I think somebody mentioned that, right? That it makes the document more presentable. And it also makes it easier to separate. I want to mess that up. You separate a list. Yeah, I think that's too important. That's some important points there. So if you think about using bullets and numbering, I like the part where it draws attention to some important things. Yes? Because even if you know PowerPoint and you have a whole part where it's written out, you know, it don't really look that, you know, unless when you put it in a point format, you realize you're more attentive to that what is being presented to you. So you can look at those things and you recognize that. So here is a formatting feature they're asking you about. So you need to know the purpose of why we use bulletin and numbering here, that particular feature. The next part of the question says, other than bullets and numbering, identify 2 formatting features used to extract from the memorandum. So you can look on the text formatting feature. I'm going to scroll back so that you are able to tell me what are some of the features that is being used here for text formatting. Give me one, underline, or name it where. Are they still here? Wow, like the internet going.
No, sir, we can still hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm going to try to share back my screen. Oops, I like that. Oh, light flickered just a while ago. Okay. Share. Which is it? Oh, okay. There you go. I think it's this one. Tell me if you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so the last one. All right, yes. So we were saying here, other than bullets and numbering, identify 2 formatting features used to extract from the memorandum. So look at them.
Bold.
Or indentation.
Underline.
Underline.
Italics.
Italics. Any other?
So you can select the line.
Left alignment, very good.
Capitalization, sir.
Sir, could you also say justification?
Justification. I'm looking. I mean, center justification. That's what you're making reference to.
No, sir. So you have, if you remember, you have left align, right align, and center align, and then you have justification for all the sentences.
Yeah, that's why I'm about to look on the sentences to see if they are based on the 2 margins, if they are evenly spaced. The words are evenly spaced between the 2 margins. I understand what I mean by that, right?
Sir, you also have bolding.
Yes, we mentioned bold before.
We have capitalization.
So indentation.
Huh? Indentation.
Indentation. Yes, sir.
Yes, we can refer to it as tab, right?
True.
Right, so those are some key features right there. Very good. Justification, no, because remember, justification have to deal with the equal distance of the words between the margins, between the 2 margins. And I'm looking at it, and you could be right in that, because when I look at the first paragraph, it looks like they are evenly There are even a match between the two margins them right there. So you could definitely say adjustment there. But what I do like though, I normally stick to the obvious ones, right? So I'm not saying that you're wrong right here, okay? But I normally stick to the obvious one because they mention two formatting features. And because me know an exam, I say bold, I say underline, I gotta write it and move on. Then I'm gonna try to spend time to think about others. The fact that I'm seeing it and it asks the formatting features, then I'm going to put that. But please to note that you have text formatting features, you also have page formatting features, right? So you have to remember some of these things, okay? What is really for text as opposed to paragraph or a page formatting feature. That's important. So we can write some of the ones that you all mentioned. You mentioned bold, you mentioned underline, you mentioned italics, right? Somebody meant we supposed to have tab. We can look on left alignment, right? Some people say, what about line spacing?
Sir, I have one more called subscript and superscript.
Oh, where's that one? Yeah, but remember we're looking at the document now, no? So you make sure that whatever you're writing, the evidence is in the document.
Sir, you also have
So I know
capitalization.
there is, but for this, where is the evidence for that? So to me,
Oh, sorry, sir. I thought the 2020 was subscript, but no, it's not.
can anybody hear me? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying, I think somebody mentioned that subscript and superscript. Bear in mind, we're looking at a document at hand right here. So even though we know that it is a formatting feature, you need to have the evidence in the document for you to write that as your answer. So please bear that in mind. So everything that I'm writing here, there must be evidence of it. So in this regard, we know that bold is here. We know underline is right here as well as italic. We can identify that. We can understand that there is actually use of tab right there. So it's a press, when after the colon and you press the tab key, it shifts over by a certain amount. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody mentioned left alignment. You could say that that wouldn't be my best choice, but it is correct. So you have to bear that in mind.
Oh, sir, there's also capitalization.
Oh yes, very good. Right, thank you. I didn't recognize that. Yeah. So you have uppercase letter, okay. All right. I think that take care pretty much. I mean, nobody's supposed to lose mark for this question. Describe all the positions of a paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. from the extra can be interchanged using the drag and drop method. Oh, 3 marks. Highlight paragraph.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you highlight the paragraph and
Paragraph.
Highlight paragraph 2.
Highlight paragraph 2. Then what?
Sorry, I can't change.
Oh, yeah, you're not that clear. And also do what?
So you'd while holding the right click button on the mouse.
Or the left?
I think it's right.
Why not the left? No, drag and drop here now. So you have a right click. The left side of the mouse, when you hold on the left side of the mouse, you can move, you can drag things on the screen, agree? Sorry.
Yes, noted. Yes, correction.
So you can, while holding on the left side of the mouse, you can either drag or move the cursor. Where should I move the cursor?
Above paragraph 1.
Where should I move?
Anywhere you want.
So is a highlight paragraph 2 while holding down the left mouse button, drag and drop the cursor to the beginning of the first paragraph and then release the mouse. So you would have interchanged both paragraphs, paragraph 1 and paragraph 2 right there. Is that clear? I hope you see my screen and can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right, so quickly. Describe the steps used in conducting a spell check in a Word document. How many I remember this? So you get this from review, not true? So you just select what? You just select the review button.
Yeah.
Right, then select what? Spelling. And grammar. Then the system should do what? System will highlight the errors based on the language. It's on the language used, yes? So remember, you have American English and British English, you know, so you have to be careful of that, right? So after you do that, now you're going to now select change or ignore until the entire document has been checked. Cool? 4 marks. Right, so once again, you have to go to the review button and select the option that deals with spelling and grammar. The system definitely highlight the errors for you based on the language used. So you know that when people install language, when they install an operating system, it usually asks you which language you want to use, right? And you can select the language of your choice, whether you want to use the American language or you want to use the British English. Well, obviously everybody got to choose English, right? But there are some difference in the English in the way you think. So for example, the word color. So it's like a situation like this, when I put the word color like this, I want, come up. Oh, yeah, it's gonna come up now. See this? It's an example. In other words, this is a British spelling of a language, but it's an American spelling. But true, we are Jamaican, we are from the British system, because that's what they say we are to do, but I don't know if nowadays things are changing. So I go to the review, you click on what? I'm demonstrating that option right here in case some of you did not know this. So when I've clicked, notice I go to the ribbon, click on, we are going to click now on spelling grammar. And you see a dialog box that pop up over here. And it says the system will highlight the errors based on the language being used. So in this case, it is
Sir, I'm not hearing you.
Sorry about that. I just unmute. Yeah. All right. So here's an example of using the yeah. So I was right here just to show you. So when you're asked to describe a step used to conduct a spell check in a Word document, what you need to do. So either go to review here, then go click on, let me just close this off here. So you go to the review tab, select, select spelling and grammar. When you select spelling and grammar, you will see this area pops up, right? It pops up in a particular language. Okay. Resume. Okay, so here's another example of a spelling that it does not recognize. I mean, it wants a capital letter. Yes, so we could have changed that right here. Right, Google, you can change it because normally Google comes with a capital letter. So you change it, right? And it basically go ahead till you want to, either you want to ignore or make the change right there. So those are some of the things that you use in terms of the steps you will take to do a spell check or deal with grammar. Where is it? Right here. Okay, so now we are on pseudocode. Remove this from around. Yeah. Okay. All right, so here we have a pseudocode question. They make it very easy for you because they basically write part of the code for you. So there is no way for you not to do this correctly. So here they are, the pseudocode below will calculate and output the number of participants and the average age of all participants attending the ICT symposium. The algorithm will terminate and display the output when an age of 999 is entered. So 1, complete the following pseudocode by filling in the blank spaces labeled 1 to 10 with the most appropriate variables and or reserved words. So we know definitely that them have labeled them from 1 to 10. Right now. So the first part of the code, well, you always have a start right there. And you're setting 0 to count. So count will store a value of 0. Age will store a value of 0. Average will store a value of 0. And total will store a value of 0 at this stage. So those 4 statements is what they use to initialize a variable. So I know that a variable is a memory location in which your values can change from time to time through the execution of a program, right? Now, the next statement states here that you are to what? Enter, in quotes, it states here, enter participant's age. And then followed by read age. So what statement will you put here? Or what phrase? Okay, I don't know. I'm going to see if I can finish this question and then leave because this internet, the last part of the question, question 3. So this internet is giving me issue here and it's after 8 right now. And I know you guys probably need some rest for tomorrow if you have exam. All right, so here, what am I saying? Yeah, so what should I write here? If you can hear me.
Right. Oh, print, sorry. Print.
All right, so. No. All right, whether you write the word.
Right.
Okay, it depends on, you know, every teacher probably teach in a particular way.
It's a pseudocode, you know.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, sometimes, you know, I don't want to confuse anybody. I mean, the word write can be used, the word print can be used, the word display can be used, and the word output can be used. Everybody clear on that? So those reserved words are used for output. Just want you all to know that. So when somebody says write and you're in agreement with that and you have something else, it doesn't mean that the person says something is wrong. It's just that we have a number of words that we can use and it gives the same instruction, all right? As it relates to pseudocode. So when I use the word write, and I'm going to place them all right here, or I use the word print, or I use the word display, or you use the word output, they make use of the same things, okay? Want everybody to be clear on that. Okay, now, so with the pseudocode, the user will have to follow the instruction by enter the participant's group age. So a number will be entered and stored on the age. Is that clear? Now, it goes on to say now, while age, so whatever number it is, let's say the user might enter a number, give me a number that you think the user will enter here.
10.
10, right? So it's a while 10 not equal, the symbol that you are seeing here represents not equal. So at the
Sorry,
third line,
well, I know, sorry.
okay.
Look back in the something up at top. It said 999.
Yeah, what about that? Because it says 999, then what? I reach a stage
So
when the
may I
user.
think a while. Never mind.
Yeah, man, yeah, man. Let me hear what you express yourself, man. I remember I said this is a while loop, you know. It's a counter.
So you say while
is it a-
while
is
the
not
age
equal to
is not
999,
equal to 999. Get that? While the age. So in other words, when the user enter age, here, there are number of possible age that the user can enter. In this regard, they can enter 1, they can enter 998, they can enter 1000, they can enter just about any value that they choose. Now, the only way we are able to repeat all the statements within the loop block is when the user enter n. Okay, I guess I finish that question here, look like. I'm gonna want to finish it, you know, because I think this is the last part of that question. All right. All right, so here we go. The user enter a value here. If the user enter 999 right here for age, it's going to say while 999 not equal, right? But in this case, it would have been false. And in a while loop, once a condition is false, it will exit the loop. But clear on that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here we go now. So the fact that, let's say the user enter the age 10, and we come here, while 10 is not equal to 999, you have to do these statements below. So you're using the word do right here. So it's a while do statement, okay? So here it's do a calculation. So in this case, total is what? Total is 0. And what will be age at this stage?
10.
10. So when you add 0 and 10, what do we get? 10. And 10 will now be stored in the variable called total. So at this stage, total have a value of 10 because 10 was the first number being entered at this stage. Now it says here what? It need to add something to count. What this is suggesting here? Based on the info, it needs to add 1.
Add 1 count.
So what this is doing is keeping track of the number of ages that the user enters. Okay, that's the purpose. So in this case, we'll have place 1. What am I to do here? It's a total divided by count. Eh?
Average.
Average, yeah. So average will be, so it's a total divided by count. So at this stage, average will store what value?
10.
10. Okay, cool. Then it said right. Okay, you see this now? All right, everybody. All right, you see this when I use the word right here? Notice. Everybody seeing?
Yes, sir.
You know what I would do in a case like that? The fact that they use it here, I would have put right here. But if you put any other statement, nothing is wrong with it. Remember, it is a pseudocode. So basically, this is just a giveaway in the question if you think about it. The fact that them write and say enter something, it also use a key term and put it back up here. So this one you notice say read, right? So read is a reserved word and you need a variable name here. So what variable name you would have? Age. Because them age right here, so you have to get by the age in the body of the loop. Because if you don't get the age in the body of the loop, what do you think will happen? You will not terminate, you're not able to stop the loop because this value here is called the centennial value. In other words, it's a location. The age here is a location of a value that is able to change the condition from true to false. So what statement will we have at 7 here?
End while.
End
while. Can anybody tell me?
End while.
Display. Second repeat.
Okay. Coming up to the last part. So this, in this sense, it is saying what? This is where I put an end while. If every while, you need to have an end while. And if every if, there need to be an end if. Right? So it's a loop. So the next one say write the number of participants. So what do we place right here?
Count.
Count, very good. But the number of participants the number of persons that enter age, that's what you are recording. And the average age of the participants, what do we put here?
Average.
The word average, very good. Good. And what do we put here?
Stop.
Stop. So it starts at the start, it starts up at the top and it finishes and you stop at the bottom. And notice that this number 3 question is 25 marks. All right, so it is now 19 past 8 and the internet been, up and down. So I think that's it. And I do hope that you learned something today, even though I'm not able to finish the entire paper, but there's one more question to go. Right, but the internet going, guys, it's raining right now. That's why it's raining where I'm at now. So the person said that they would like to have this document here. I'm going to see if I can upload it in the chat area here. Where do I save this document? Let me see if I can save this document. This is not the place where I'm supposed to save it. All right, so if I can go to the chat and see if I can upload this. I hope this is what size. This is the correct one. I hope. All right, just check for me to see if it is the correct one. All right, and let me know.
Sir, I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
I put a file in the chat a while ago. Unless you were out. You don't see a file. It says January IT paper 2 2021 blank
No,
copy.
sir, I'm not seeing it.
Oh, you might have. Huh?
Not seeing it, sir.
Not seeing it? Are you seeing you're not seeing my screen right now?
I'm seeing your screen.
I'm
All right,
seeing your screen.
Oh, wow. Not sharing.
Sir, I'm seeing the document, sir, but I clicked on the document and there are no answers.
There's no answers in that one. All right then. All right, let me go do it over. Let me see if I can find the document. Where document them again. I probably have it open or something. Let me just double check. I'm not going to leave until I'm able to do so for you. So this is a document that I'm sharing. It's called answer. So I have to just look in the chat if you see it for me, please. Let me know.
No, sir, I'm not seeing anything.
Sir, I'm not seeing anything either.
Sir, I'm seeing it, sir.
Or you get it? Are
It's
you able to
also
download?
opening it. Yeah, I opened it
so
and it
somebody-
has the answers. So I'm not certain about
Okay.
anybody else.
So can you,
because I don't
for
know
the
if it's,
person that received it, can you reshare it back with us? Or can you
Yeah.
post
I
it
see
to the
it.
group?
you might have like get kicked out at some point because you know it
No,
says
sir,
in the chat.
I was in the meeting all along.
All right, I'm going to see if I can post it again in the meantime because some people might be in and out, so I don't know if that is the problem. I'll post it again. Thank you. All right, Tony. Yeah. I'm not in the group. Okay. So if you're in the chat, you're not seeing it. If you're in the chat, you're supposed to see it. I don't know if you're able to access it. So I'm going to send it again.
Sir, it probably have to do with the device that we're using. So.
Sir, I am sending the document with the answers, sir.
All right, cool. All right. So I'm going to send it one more for those persons that probably in and out, and maybe others can share it with yourselves.
Sir, if they're using their phones, it might be difficult for them to do it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the persons that are in the group, I guess you can send it in the group.
All right, so once there is a group, fine. Just share it to the WhatsApp group. Okay, you guys can do that.
Yes, there's the MOE.
So I think that's it. I mean, I hope you all learned something today. You know, sorry. Bye, everyone. Everybody all right? Can I end this meeting now? So if I end this meeting, did person get access to the WhatsApp group? Or anybody know the WhatsApp group that you guys have? Okay. I'm going to end the meeting now.